Hey everyone, it's Friday. It's time to take a walk through my Florida garden and see what's blooming and what's growing. You know, I love doing these little Friday casual walks because it forces me to keep up with keeping my garden neat and clean and not leave pots laying around and that sort of thing. I even went so far as brought out the leaf blower and I cleaned up the patio and I pulled weeds in the patio, except I left the salvias and the pepperweed because pepperweed is a host plant to the great southern white butterfly. So let's just get started right now. I have so many things to show you. Stepping outside my garden room door, here is our patio. I put this patio in myself probably 6 years ago, and you can see there's salvias coming up in between, but I'm leaving those. This is the new garden bed. Well, it's not new, but I extended it. And look at these gorgeous red. I mean, there's pink in here too, but those red, oh my gosh, they're beautiful. And I love how the light colored leaves of the tea bush, which is right behind it, really show up against the darker leaves in the red. The tea bush is the one I showed you at the nectar, and mine is just now starting to bloom. It gets these beautiful tiny flowers, and pollinators go crazy over this. When this is covered in blooms, I'm gonna walk by here and there's gonna be little things flying all over. There already are, I can hear them buzzing around. So tea bush, fabulous plant for pollinators. I've seen butterflies on these as well. And then the salvia. Oh my gosh, both of these are native to Florida. I say to Florida because I know they're native to Florida. They're probably native other places too, but you would have to check. I only know Florida natives. All right, so let's turn back over here. And these are some plants that have been here for a while, and it's my monstera that I just absolutely love. A very, very good friend of mine gave me a little tiny baby, one of these that came up from hers in her garden. And I just love this, not just because it's gorgeous, but because of the person that gave it to me too, and knowing that it's an extension of her garden. And this bird bath right here is so popular. I need to put water in it. I try and keep watering it all the time. In a lot of my videos, I've shown footage of birds in this bird bath. This is my little grouping of walking irises, and they get the most beautiful flowers on them. I think I saw one. I think they're getting, yes. I think they're getting ready to bloom. And of course, look how bright the little ends of the stems are with those bright leaves. This is my sassafras tree, host plant to the spice bush swallowtail. And oh gosh, there's others. I'll have to check and let you know. There's Ringo in a hole he dug. Back here is some, what's it called? Iron plant. Why can't I think of what it's called? And then also growing in it is bleeding heart, which once you have it, you can't get rid of it. So we used to fight it, and now we just let it do what it wants to do. I mean, it is pretty. It's actually quite beautiful. And coming up in that, what is that plant called? It's some kind of metal, iron or steel. Anyway, it's actually kind of pretty all woven through there. So we're just letting it do what it wants to do. cast iron plant. It just popped into my head. Cast iron plant. Okay, so now I'm back by the entrance to my garden room, but I wanted to show you right here is my Duranta, and it really needs trimmed. But I was showing you these when I visited the Nectary in Wednesday's video. They have some of those there, and they're beautiful. And theirs are shaped like trees, just like mine is. If you look down there, see it's got like a little trunk, and I have to keep it trimmed, but I love this plant. Gets these beautiful little purple flowers, and it can't possibly be invasive because I never have them come up anywhere, and I've had this for years. But I do see butterflies and pollinators on it, and it's a great place to hang butterflies that are still drying their wings if you raise butterflies. And then coming down this first garden path, we come around to this walkway here that I put in last year, and this kind of separates the tropical sage garden, which is full of tropical sage. I put these trellis pieces up to keep it standing up, otherwise it will lay all over my walkway, and actually I think it looks kind of pretty. I did just order another set of trellises, these same ones with the butterflies on them. Is that not fabulous? To extend on down to the other side. You can see I put some of those little ones in there in the meantime. And these are on Amazon. I'm pretty sure they're in my Amazon storefront, but when I'm editing this video, I'll go in and make sure they're there. And if they're not, I will add them because they're beautiful and they're butterflies. And then this walkway on this side is my Florida native wildflower garden, and is really starting to grow in. And some of my favorite plants are right here, like the lyre leaf sage. This was full of blooms, but now you can see it's more going to seed, but it's going to put up more and more. And then look at that white indigo behind it. So pretty. And then behind that, the starry rosinweed. Incredible. What a nice grouping of plants. And let me tell you, all you need is one of these because they'll come up everywhere. There's one there, and there. What is this? What are you doing? Excuse me. Why are you going over there? Look at this. This is a starry rosinweed that came up on its own, and it was growing back into the lyre leaf sage. I'll have to come out and stake that up. Do you see how, since it was down, the flowers have turned up because everything plants grow to the light. So if I stake it up here, these will turn and they'll go back upright, and we'll get this going in the right direction. There were some lyre leaf sage coming up in the walkway here, and I dug them up and moved them into the garden, and I'm going to keep an eye on them and see how well they transplanted. Let's get in closer at this white indigo. Look at this beautiful plant. I love the little yellow. The little yellow at the end. Like, oh my gosh, it's a fabulous plant. And I love, like mine is like a little tree. It's got one stem and then it comes up and branches out. It did go dormant, so it has just come back for its second year in my garden. Look at that starry rosinweed back there with it. Starry rosinweed, butterflies love it. These are all Florida native wildflowers, the lyre leaf sage, the white indigo, and the starry rosinweed. And look, there's another lyre leaf sage that came up, and there's another one right there, and there's a weed behind it I'm about to go grab. Here's a look at the tropical sage garden, looking out at the tea bush and to the patio. Also in this wildflower garden, I have some coontie, wonderful Florida native. Lots of places you'll see this used in landscaping, like at gas stations, and it's all over my Publix parking lot. It's also the host plant to the Atala butterfly that I'm going to try to get established in my garden again this year. We'll see. I also have a white beard tongue. That's this right here. There's a bunch of sage in here and other things, but this is the white beard tongue, and it usually blooms in the spring, and it will start growing up taller, just kind of like that white indigo. Here's another lyre leaf sage coming up. It's going to be everywhere in here, and I love that. There's a whole bunch more of it right back in there too. And then right here is an elephant's foot, and we can see it dropped seeds because I've got one coming up there, and this one looks like another one here. This is something else. This is, well, this is hairy golden aster, but I don't think that's the golden aster. That looks like it. I mean, maybe that is elephant's foot too. It's so hard to tell when they're just their little basil leaves and they haven't sent up the main portion of the plant that's going to flower yet, because we're still coming out of dormancy. And now I'm back behind the starry rosinweed, and there's more because you can see it drop seed too. It's coming up all over the place in here. I love it. It'll be soon full of the yellow flowers. This is a snow square stem, and this, who are you? Maybe a Rudbeckia hirta? And this is my favorite Georgia aster growing in, and look how many of them there are. This was like the one that was in the pot. Like, I could come in here and pull these apart and have a bunch of different plants, and I probably will, and spread them out in the garden a little more. This is another lyre leaf sage, but this little one here, I'm not sure who that is. We'll find out when they grow up. There's a few of them in here. This is something different. And then this right here is a slender beard tongue. So it should start growing up too. This is something, and so is this. And are they the same something? Well, their leaves look different. And the growth pattern, this one only has 2 coming out, and this one. So we'll find out. Here's another snow square stem coming up in here, and let's see, this is something here too. This is not something. This right here is something. And look, there's this and there's this. So we're all crowded in here, and you can see and this. There's a whole bunch, and these are all like natives that I know, I'm just not sure who they are. But they're all here in this one little space. So imagine when these all grow in and bloom. That's going to be fabulous. Then I have these coming up right here that are something. But then over here is another something, and it's getting ready to bloom. I'm not sure who that is either. But I love that it's tucked back here behind my hammock snake root. Okay, so moving over a little bit, right here, this looks like another elephant's foot that's coming up. And look what we have here. My little wavy leaf aster has one little bloom, and it's starting to put up a stem. So it's growing back. Look how dirty my hand is. Look, I was just pulling out some of those weeds that have those things. This little guy right here is somebody, and that one right there. Now, I keep saying they're somebody because I recognize them as, like, I know they're not weeds, so they are some sort of native wildflower. And look at this right here. What is that? That might be, could that be a goldenrod coming up? It's just fabulous. So I'm gonna pull the camera back and show you the little area we've just been in, so you can see the size of the space that we've been looking around in is literally right here. All of those plants we just looked at were right here in this small, it's about 2x3 rectangle. Yeah, that's incredible. I can't wait to see what it's going to be like when these are all grown in and flowering and all mixed in with each other. I just love it. And then this fabulous plant is my royal catchfly. I am so glad it's coming back too. Oh my gosh, I love it. There's that little new one I planted, the violet sororia, and the zizia is hanging in there. It's not looking as great as it could, but it's hanging in there. Moving further back in this garden section, it's much less densely planted, and there are things coming up. Some of them are things I want, like this, and some of them are weeds like that. So I'm just kind of like, if I recognize a weed and I'm walking by, I'll pluck it out. But really, I'm just going to let everything in here come up, and then I'll fill in more when I see what space there actually is. Because look, here's another, look, elephant's foot. This right here, what does this say? Tall ironweed. And then right here is my ovate leaf plantain. And boy, when I first planted this thing, it just was looking like it was suffering every day. I had to water it, but finally it got itself settled in, and now it's doing just fine. Love the coloring of the leaves. Oh, listen to my mockingbird. I love it. Back here is pretty much weeds, but I do have my two newest asters. This one is the calico aster, and it's got some little flowers on it. Yay! And then this one over here is about to bloom. This is the blue wood aster. And I look forward to seeing those flowers. I haven't seen this one flower yet. So you know we'll be coming and checking it out. Now we're going to make our way across over to the shade garden. So this was the Florida native wildflower garden. My shade garden is mostly natives also, except for like the viburnum growing in the back, and of course the monstera. Oh, and the border grass. This is a rouge plant, flowers and little red berries all year. I have a whole lot of them planted in here. They love shade. They only get about as tall as you see them, so they're great for putting in under a tree, but they do like lots of shade. And then right here, this little bundle of sticks and this big bundle of sticks with passiflora incense growing up it. Those are both spice bush. They haven't come out of dormancy yet. Host to the spice bush swallowtail. Back in surrounded by rouge plants is another spice bush. And of course, there's some tropical sage in here. And here is another spice bush. And this is a pig. It gets these little, well, here it looks like there's one coming. It gets these little flowers and they hang down like upside down. They're really cute. Right back there, kind of vining everywhere, that is snowberry. Now the snowberry back here doesn't really get the berries or the flowers because it's in the shade, which is why I got more and put it over in the Garden of Snow and Fire, and it does get the berries and the flowers because it gets sun. And then down under the monstera, right down there, that is a velvet leaf coffee plant, also a native plant. So just to review, the tropical sage, the rouge plant, the spice bush, the snowberry and the velvet leaf coffee are all Florida native. Monstera is not. Passiflora incense, which is the host to zebra longleaf and Gulf fritillary, that's a hybrid of a Florida native and a tropical native, but not native. This is frostweed. Oh my gosh, it gets a beautiful flower in it. I think it more flowers in the fall, but it can grow kind of wonky, so you got to keep your eye on it and like keep it trimmed. Otherwise, it gets really tall and then it falls over, and then the stems turn upright toward the sun, and before you know it, it's laying across your walkway and then sticking straight up. So you got to keep an eye on it. This right here that's getting little buds on it is coming out of dormancy too. This is a Florida native viburnum. I got it at the Nectary, and it gets the most beautiful colored berries on it. They're like a purplish green. I can't wait. I hope it puts them on, and I'll show you when that happens. And then right in front of me is a wild black cherry tree. This I have here for eastern tiger swallowtails, but it's a host to many, many butterflies and moths. And these can get very tall, but I shaped mine so it's not going up now and it's just kind of rounded off. So it will thrive here in this little understory setting, and it's easy for me to access the leaves and check them for eggs and caterpillars. And right here is another spice bush, except this one is coming out of dormancy. Yay! And this one is too. Yay! And then back here, these sticks, these are usually the last to come out of dormancy. This is the pawpaw tree, host to the zebra swallowtail. I have never gotten eggs or caterpillars, but I have had the butterfly visit at least once a year for the past 2 years. Last year I think I had them twice. So that's the one I showed you on the hiking video that I was so excited about. And then down here is the stuff that's growing everywhere. And I don't know if this is a weed. It's just all in this one little section, but it's kind of pretty. Like it's acting like a ground cover. So if any of you know, is this friend or foe? This is what the flowers look like. So for now, I'm just leaving it. My little bird friend up there. It's like tapping its beak on the stem. But that's not the one that's making noise. I don't see the one that's making noise. And then the last native I have to share in my shade garden is a beautyberry. Beautyberry, fabulous plant. It's a host of something, I want to say, maybe a moth, but it puts on fabulous, beautiful berries, and birds love them. So it's a wonderful, wonderful addition to a Florida garden. And then right here's my little wafer ash tree, host to giant swallowtails, and it is also coming out of dormancy. I love it. No matter where you are in Florida or anywhere, spring is such a wonderful time watching everything grow back and come back to life. It's so exciting to see that first little bit of regrowth on a dormant plant. And especially if it's like your second or third year with it, you know what that plant's gonna look like or be, and you're just so grateful to have it. I love it. Yeah, and we're just gonna skip over my 4 zinnias, and yeah, we'll check back on that. But remember all those little seeds I scattered in the garden of things I grew from seed? Look. There are a million of whatever that is coming up. Like, I think they all germinated. It's probably that one that might be invasive in other states, the Dame's rocket. Was it Dame's rocket? Yeah. But I also threw some other varieties of seeds in too. And look, there's little seedlings coming up everywhere. So that's going to be super fun to watch that all grow in. And then here's one of my wetland gardens. Cut leaf coneflower. I think, is it upland twin flower? I guess Stokes aster. Oh look, there's a little bloom on one of the twin flowers. Look how cute. This is a host plant too. It's slipping my mind what it is for, but it is a host plant. Okay, Stokes aster. Right in the middle, right here, this is a prairie coneflower, and then that right there is a cut leaf coneflower, and then there are several snow square stems coming up in here, and there are a couple scarlet hibiscus that I love and look forward to seeing those blooms. So nice collection of plants in here, and I have room for more. Oh, there's something there too. Oh, cardinal flower. That little green, it hasn't started growing up yet, but that's cardinal flower. And then this was my swamp milkweed garden, and now I moved all my swamp milkweed. If you've been watching, you know why. There is still some in here. I'm actually just looking. Look at this. Right there. That one's growing back. I'll have to come get it and move it before it gets eaten. And not by caterpillars. Look at this one. That looks like this one's coming back right there too. Oh good, I'll have to come in and dig around and see if I can get more to move. So for now, since I've moved most all of the swamp milkweed out, swamp milkweed, Asclepias incarnata, hostplant to monarch butterflies, queens, and soldiers. This is mainly Elliot's aster, narrowleaf sunflower. There is some lizard's tail in here. There's one right there coming up. And there is some water hyssop growing in here. Let's see, who else is in here? Here's more. There's weeds in here. Here's more lizard's tail. And these, the Elliot's aster and narrowleaf sunflower get super tall. Oh, and I also have clustered bush mint coming in right there. Beautiful, beautiful, tall, bushy plant. Gets little white flowers on it. Pollinators love it. Love it, love it, love it. Then right at the back, I just have some potted plants just to kind of keep a barrier to keep the dogs from running through. But this is just beautiful. Look how pretty the color purple is on these flowers. This is here it is, Plum Crazy. And the shade of these flowers, oh my gosh, I love it. And the gorgeous flame vine is blooming. Butterflies love this. It is not native and it can grow everywhere and spread around because it's a vine, which is why I keep mine in a pot. And let me show you, just so you know, this potted plant used to be over where my pentas garden is now. And yesterday I was over here deadheading some of the pentas, and look who I found. Because that one of the branches touched the ground, and so it rooted. And so now I have a whole nother flame vine. So I pulled it out and left it in the walkway to remind me I'm gonna dig that up and put it in a pot. Pentas, butterfly favorite. I have all mixed colors in here. I have some white, red of course, pink. There's like a little lilac-y shade. Over here I've got Rudbeckia hirta mixed in with some red pentas. And my button bush is putting out growth at the bottom, but I think some of that is some other plant. It looks like salt bush, salt marsh. Actually, there's multiple things in there. Let's go in and dig deep. Okay, this right here is the actual button bush growing back, but these are gifts with purchase. All this stuff is growing in, and it came with the plant, but I guess it was dormant or seeds. So this looks like, doesn't that look like salt? Is it salt marsh bush? I'm not sure what this is. And some of it could be weeds. Y'all have to let me know. Or is this, I don't know. And then that looks like, that doesn't look like a weed. So I think there's multiple things coming up in here. I'll just leave them and then we'll see what they do. There's two of these. There's that one and then there's another one over here. And there's my potted pentas, looking a little lighter now because I just took another delivery to the nectary. And then here's one of my nectar gardens. This is more of non-native plants, but no, there's some natives in here too. We've got some starry rosinweed coming in here. And we've got beach verbena, and we've got the pickerel weed and The water hyssop, those are natives. And then, we've got some of those fancy sages that are not native, that they're gorgeous. And these little, in the hanging baskets, the verbena, not native, but beautiful. I do have a buddleia in there. I love it. If you don't love buddleia, that's fine. I love it. And there's a little, what's it called? There's too many button plants. There's silver buttonwood. There's button bush. This is another button plant. Buttonwood sage, maybe? It's not flowering right now, but that's a native. Oh, and of course the lovely, look at this snow square stem. It's spectacular. It's just the perfect little shape. I cannot wait till it starts blooming, and it should, because I'm leaving it alone now that I've got it in this cute little round shape. Oh my gosh, I love it. Here's the back corner of my garden. We've been here a lot, so I'm not gonna go through and name every plant. You all should be able to name all these plants. But look at these sage. This is the one I can never say. Indigo, some indigo. Starts with a W. W something indigo, maybe. I don't know. But it's beautiful. Look at it. Bees love it. There's a chunky bee back there right now, buzzing around it. And then in the two trellises, I have passiflora incense growing. And then here's my little collection of potted trees. All of these are hosts, except for the one in the clay pot, the clay square pot. That is a vitex. You can see my little baby sassafras tree. It's putting on little green leaves at the ends of its stems too. I love it. And then the garden section that I've been working on right over here, I added a few features. Put a few more raised plant stands, and then some potted zinnias. Aren't they pretty? And then the one in the back by the bird bath, that is a flame vine. And hopefully one day it'll look like that gorgeous flame vine over there. But I just think it's real pretty. These bowls, I just look for big bowls. Because the zinnia pots dry out real quick, and when they dry out, they don't look happy. So I put them on the bowls to hold water, and they stay happier. And I am always collecting things like that at thrift stores. So both of those came from thrift stores. And the honeysuckle, coral honeysuckle, is looking great. It's doing very well in its pot back there, and it's started to extend a few stems towards the trellis, so that's good. There's some Mexican sunflowers coming up in here that I grew from seed and we planted. I've got more pots with some zinnia seedlings, and when they start blooming, I'll move them into here also. And of course, a bunch of pink tropical sage behind it. But what you'll notice as we look through the garden, there's still no butterflies. I know, it's sad, but they are slowly returning, and I have some fun things to show you in the lepidarium. So tap the like button, and if you tap the like button, I'll take you in and I'll show you some adorable baby caterpillars. But you gotta tap the like button. All right, we're getting ready to enter. Did you pay your admission? Did you tap the like button? If you did, let's go in. Well, first, there is a Polydamas Swallowtail in here, so we'll release that one in a little bit. Let's peek in the lepidarium and see how everybody's doing. All right, so these little pipe vine cuttings have eggs on them for Polydamas Swallowtail caterpillars. None of the egg, this was the first egg I found right here. And it hasn't hatched, nor have any of the other eggs that I brought in. But hopefully some of these will hatch, because look how many I have. I am so thrilled. They've got to, like some of them, have to be viable baby Polydamas Swallowtail caterpillars. Then I have two sections of wild lime. For these are the babies that just hatched, giant swallowtail caterpillars. And then these are the big guys. So let's go look at the babies and then we'll check in on the big guys. Here's one of the babies. Oh, there's another one. Oh, there's three in this shot. These guys are about 4 or 5 days old, maybe. And then all three of those cuttings in the back, they all have babies on them too. There's one. So cute. You can see the little munch marks on the leaves. That's what you can look for if you're looking for signs of a caterpillar in your wild lime. Look for those little munched leaves. Oh, there's still some eggs in here too. I haven't hatched yet. Okay, now these, oh my gosh, these guys are perfection. Just love them. Oh my goodness. So these ones are like teenagers. So they still have a good deal of growing to do, but oh, I just love to see how they're thriving. They're just such chill caterpillars. It's like every time you look at them, they're just hanging out. Totally different from monarchs who are constantly munching. These guys, they just like napping. Hopefully you watched my last video. I showed you all about taking care of them and the enclosure. And then right here on this Passiflora incense cutting, this little Gulf fritillary. Actually, I think there's 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. Yay! So glad to have these guys. Okay, let's release a butterfly. I just saw the female that's been laying eggs flying in my garden a moment ago. So there'll be somebody to hang out with. Oh my gosh, fly free. Stay in my garden though, you'll love it here. Oh look, there's the other one. Oh, and looky. Remember my two little friends that I brought in and made the enclosure for out in the garden? I don't usually do for monarchs, but they needed some special attention. Those chrysalides look perfect. Like usually, see how it's solid green at this point, because this chrysalis is probably 5 days old. There would be brown spots at the top of it if it had OE, and it's just perfection. I think these are going to be two very healthy butterflies when they eclose. So I think that's all I had to show you today. If I missed anything, well, you know what? Next week is another Friday, and we'll take another walk casually through the garden, and I'll show you what I worked on during the week, and if we got anybody new in the lepidarium, and if I've seen any new butterflies, you know, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys on Monday for Monday's video. If you snuck into the garden room and saw those caterpillars without tapping the like button, it's time for you to tap it now. And subscribe to my channel if you're not a subscriber. I keep looking over there because the female Polydamas Swallowtail is over there by all of my potted pipevine, which is their host plant. That's the one I showed you the eggs for in the lepidarium. So I'm gonna have to go look and see if she's laying even more eggs. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for tapping the like button. And if you want a lot more videos to watch and see how all of this whole backyard butterfly garden came to be, join the Milkweed crew, because the Milkweed crew has access to season 1, season 2, season 3, and season 4 videos. The public has access to season 5 and this current season 6. All right, bye everyone. Back in the caterpillar enclosure, just want to show you real quick. Watch this little sassy guy. Of course, he's not going to be sassy now. All right, there we go. Look at him. Those are osmeterium. It's a defensive mechanism that they have, one of the little swallowtail adaptations. It also releases, when they shoot those little osmeterium out, it releases a strong odor to scare people away. So I'm going to leave him alone now.